All right, students, let's wrap up our work on adding and subtracting fractions. When we add fractions, we must have a common denominator. Now, since I've got a whole number, let's make this whole number look like a fraction. And I'm going to put this y plus 5 in a set of parentheses. You don't have to, but I think it might be helpful later on. For a common denominator, check to see if the small denominator divides into the big denominator. Well, 1 divides into anything. That means the big denominator can be my common denominator. We'll use y plus 5 as my common denominator. Now for the numerators. What do you multiply times y plus 5 to get itself? Well, we multiply by 1. 1 times 6y is 6y. What do you multiply times 1 to get y plus 5? Well, we'll have to multiply it by y plus 5. Do that in the top as well. Now, when I do that, I'm taking this 2 and distributing. It's 2 times y and 2 times 5. 2 times y and 2 times 5. Now keep the common denominator and add the numerators. Look for like terms. There's a 6y and a 2y. Those are like terms. I can add them. 6y plus 2y is 8y plus this 10. There's what your final answer should look like. Here's number 2. We're subtracting fractions, so we'll need a common denominator. Can you see the common denominator? Does the smaller denominator divide evenly into the bigger denominator? Well, yes, y is right inside of 3y. If the small denominator divides into the big denominator, then the big denominator makes a good common denominator. Now let's get the numerators. What do you multiply times y to get 3y? We'll have to multiply by 3. If I multiply the bottom by 3, then I must also multiply the top by 3. When I do that, I'll distribute. 3 times negative y and 3 times 1. There's 3 times negative y. There's 3 times 1. What do you multiply times 3y to get itself? We'll multiply by 1. We should also multiply the top by 1. 1 times 2y is 2y. 1 times negative 5, there. Now here's where I must be careful. When I try to subtract, this subtraction gets distributed. Let's write the entire top out. It's negative 3y plus 3. Then it's minus 2y and minus negative 5. Minus 2y and minus negative 5. When you subtract a negative 5, that's the same as adding 5. Now we'll combine like terms. There's a y and there's a y. Negative 3y and negative 2y is negative 5y. 3 and 5, 3 plus 5 is 8. These are challenging. They're going to take some time and some patience. You can do it. Here's one last example. The common denominator is easy. Since 2 divides evenly into 6, 6 makes a good common denominator. Let's get the numerators. What do you multiply times 6 to get itself? Is 1. Multiply the top by 1. What do you multiply times 2 to get 6? Is 3. We'll multiply the top by 3. 3 times 11 is 33. So that's 33x squared. Now keep the common denominator and add up the numerators. But the numerators are not like terms, so I can't really add them. Instead, we'll show the answer that way. That looks terrible. Let me write that more clearly. That should be 5x plus 33x squared. That looks much nicer. All right, you're doing great. Keep up the good work. Go work some more homework problems, and this will conclude part 2.